Hello, welcome to the first episode of J Baby Eats. I'm Jaron Farah, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to cook different dishes, and you're going to be cooking with me in my kitchen. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, it's soup season here in Minnesota. It's January, so it's cold. So the nice thing you want on a Sunday night is a nice warm chicken noodle soup. So that's going to be my first dish. And I initially got this recipe from Savoir magazine, but I have changed it a little bit because I've done it a few times. So it's actually going to be like a saffron chicken noodle soup, but I'm going to change how we do the spice rub, and then I'm also going to change the different types of ingredients that we're going to add at the end of the soup. But a little bit about how I'll walk you through it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rub down this chicken. I have a whole chicken here, and here's my spice blend. And what I did was salt, pepper, oregano, onion powder, and garlic powder. So I'm going to rub this all down, and how I like to do it is I like to take the seasoning. I really like to get in the chicken, to get underneath the skin. A lot of people just like to rub it on the outside of the skin, which is great. But if you really want to get the flavor inside of that meat, you gotta get underneath there. So it's a little bit of dirty work, but it's worth it in the end. So I'm just currently rubbing down the chicken into every little place I can. So it's gonna be nice and salty and savory. And then I'm going to get some butcher twine and tie it up here, and it's going to go into the oven. I have a meat probe here. It's going to go into the oven at 400 degrees until that bird gets to about, or gets to 165. So finish rubbing it down. I'm going to put a little oil on it so that it keeps the moisture in. I'm going to tie this up, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. All right, so bird rub down, and typically I like to let it marinate overnight, or I guess dry rub, and I'd seal it up and let it marinate overnight and really get the flavor locked in. But for the sake of time and for this video, I'm going to show you how I do it right now. And right now I'm going to pour a little olive oil on top of it, rub it in there so it gets nice moisture on there, so it doesn't get dried out when it's in the oven. And I'm going to add a little water on the bottom so that those nice drippings can create a little bit of broth and stock for when I put it in my soup. Okay, so now oven's hot, been preheating. Got my thermometer right there. Chicken is tied up, as you can see, and I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to let it roast. 400 until we get to 165, and then I'm going to start the rest of my soup. So I'm going to walk you a little bit through what the other ingredients are going to go into the soup. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, these are the seasonings. So I had the salt, pepper for the chicken rub, and then also onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, and the olive oil, and here's the saffron. So what I'm going to do with the saffron is I'm actually going to infuse it with a little white wine, kind of like you do with certain types of risotto or paella dishes. So we do a cup. And then a nice pinch of saffron threads. You don't need too much. A little bit goes a long way. And then I'm going to actually add some saffron threads later on in the dish. But then also here I'm going to do parsnips, which I have shaved in order to make them look prettier. And I also don't like the bitterness of the outside. And also one of them was covered with wax. Sometimes they're covered with wax, other times they're not. But I do like to just give them a quick peel with the potato peeler, any type of peeler you have. But then we have saffron, parsnips, corn, chicken stock, and then your seasonings. So that's pretty much it. Really simple recipe, and then also you're gonna have the chicken. So when that is all cooked up, I'm gonna shred it all up, which I love to do. I love shredded chicken and love roasting whole chickens, and it's gonna be really delicious because it really keeps a lot of moisture and a lot of really nice flavor. And then we're gonna also add the drippings again from the chicken into the soup, and it's gonna boil all up. And then at the very end, then we're gonna add our noodles. All right, so I'm gonna start cooking my broth and vegetables. So first, I also wanted to add butter. So half a stick of butter, and then a little bit of olive oil. I'm gonna let that get hot. I just put a tablespoon of olive oil in there. And then once it heats up a little bit, I do have some additional seasonings at the bottom here that were left over from the chicken. And once that gets hot, I'm gonna add my parsnips. Then I'm gonna add the wine, let the wine cook off a little bit so that it lets it reduce. And then from there, I'm going to add my chicken stock. And then I'm gonna let it boil for a little while. And then I'll bring it up to a boil, and then I'll reduce the heat down to low and let it cook off for a little while longer. And then once the chicken's done, I'll shred that up and add all those ingredients. And then I'm gonna add the corn, frozen corn at the end, and then at the very end, I'll add my noodles and let them cook up for several minutes, and then we'll be ready to serve. Okay, so here we go. Let my oil get hot. There, let my butter cook. I'm gonna add my parsnips. And I do about medium heat. I don't want it to get too hot for the butter and for the oil, because it has a lower smoke point than other types of oil. So I'm going to give that a quick stir. Let that saute. And then I'm gonna add my white wine with saffron. So I'm just gonna let that get hot and let that simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, so my saffron, wine, and parsnips have reduced a bunch in the butter, and it's cooked off quite a bit. It's been going for about 10 minutes now. And one thing I did want to add actually also was fresh garlic at this point. So I'm gonna smash up 2 cloves here. And I'm gonna chop it up. You wanna get it nice and minced. One thing I really like to do also is I like to add a little bit of salt. Chop it up again real fine. And then I'm going to kind of mince it with my knife. Just the side of the blade. Just kind of back and forth. Chop it up a little bit more. Gets to a really nice paste-like consistency. I'm gonna add it in, stir it around for just a few seconds before I add my chicken stock. Don't wanna cook it too much. All right. Ooh, it smells delicious. The parsnips, the garlic, the saffron, the wine has a really lovely flavor to it. And now I'm gonna add the chicken stock. Bring it up to a boil and reduce it down low. Ooh, I wish you could smell this, but once you start cooking on your own, you'll be able to know right away what it's like. Thank you. Okay, so I shredded up all the chicken and it's been in its juices so that it stays nice and moist. So now I'm gonna take all of this chicken along with the juices that were created from roasting in the bottom of the pan, and I'm putting it in my soup. So I removed a lot of the kind of the gritty pieces of chicken as well as the skin, and I discarded them. But I'm gonna put all of this in here. I'll move over here for you. Okie dokie. chicken's all out, okay? And inside of the pot. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna turn up the heat to medium, and I'm gonna add some more water to it. So another cup of water. I'm gonna let that cook. I might need to add a little bit more water as well. But I'm gonna bring up the heat there, and then I'm going to add my corn and my noodles. I'm gonna add now a pinch more of saffron. Just want it to be the predominant flavor along with the parsnips and chicken. Stir that up. And as soon as this kind of gets a little bit hotter or even closer to a boil, then I'm going to add the corn there and then the noodles. And those noodles will just take a few minutes, and the corn, I mean, it's frozen, but it just needs to get hot. And then we'll be ready to go. So we're really close. Just want to bring that heat up a little bit more. The smell still very good. The chicken was extremely tender and delicious. So it was really fun to shred that up. And definitely you got a taste test. So took a little bite of that as well. And we're really close. It's almost soup time. All right, so everything's all cooked up. The noodles are complete. Soup is all done. Now it's time to dish up and dig in. There we go. Want to make sure you get all of the items that you would like in your soup. There, it's a good scoop. All right. And that's kind of the final product, what it looks like. Then grab a spoon, grab your favorite saltine crackers. A lot of times I like to add those too, but it doesn't need it. So, buen provecho. Thank you so much for joining, and if you'd like to watch more videos, more to come. This is my very first one, so I'm really excited to share who I am with you and my cooking adventures. I like to cook a lot. I'm an at-home cook and self-taught, so I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you try it, and I hope you enjoy.